Welcome to Expand Your Fempire with Caterina Rando, the podcast for women in business on a mission, sharing ideas to support you to grow, lead, and thrive. Now, here's your host, Caterina Rando.
Welcome back to another episode of the Expand Your Fempire podcast. I'm your host, Caterina Rando, and I am blissing to have you with me today. I have something I think is pretty special for you today. Today, I am going to share with you a short talk I did on the importance of taking action at a recent conference for women on manifesting what we want for ourselves in our lives, hosted by the fabulous Christi Corradi, who has been a guest on our podcast, and you can listen to her episode. Go to caterinarando.com/podcast and do a search for Christi, and you will get to her episode. In this talk that I'm going to share with you shortly, really what I'm discussing is what is essential for us in our business to thrive, really to thrive everywhere in our life. It's a key ingredient, action, that many women can use more mastery in. I don't know if you fall into that category, my friend. You will have to decide for yourself. The thing is, though, that too many women get ready to begin to think about getting going. They ponder possibilities for way too long. They research everything. They talk to 50 people before they do anything. And as a result, they push off two key ingredients that you're going to hear about in this talk. Now, my desire in sharing this with you is that you pay attention to where in your business are you dragging your feet. And you know why we drag our feet? Often we don't take action in our business because there's certain areas like maybe sales or strategy or goal setting or writing copy or doing video that we don't feel super confident. But the thing that I want you to recognize is that the more we do these things, the more confident we get. And remember that the goal is not to do stuff, it's to master stuff. And that's where action comes in. One of the things I discussed with the ladies that were on our recent Bliss retreat for women leaders on a mission is where you want more bliss in your business, develop more mastery. How do you develop more mastery? Take more action. I want you to think about it. Sales, marketing, operations, finance. Where can you use more mastery? Where can you use more bliss? The more you master it, the more you're going to bliss with it. Let's look at your 5 pillars of Fempire building: speaking, selling, serving, strategy, self-care. Where can you use more bliss? Take that pillar where you want more bliss, develop more mastery. How do you develop more mastery? Take more action. Let's not forget the research of our friend Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote the book Outliers. What does he discuss in that book? It takes 10,000 hours to get to mastery. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think of 10,000 hours, that is a huge number. That's a really big mountain to climb. That makes me depresso when I think of 10,000 hours. You know what, though? If you remember that every hour in is 1 hour closer to mastery, the more you will recognize that all action is supporting you to get from here to where you want to go. As you look ahead or down the road to what you want to create for yourself in your business, maybe you want to have 20 new clients, or you want to fill a program, or you want to fill a conference or a retreat, and those numbers are big. Recognize that the more time you can give yourself and the more action you can take, the more you're going to get there. We often don't recognize that it's not just doing something, it's action over action over action. What do I mean by that? I started a Thrive at Sales class today. There are 16 people in our Thrive at Sales program. That's the number that I choose to have in each of our 9-week Thrive at Sales programs that we do. 16 ladies were there today. Perfect. But you know what? I always have to enroll 2 or 3 extra in order to get the number that I want. You always over enroll. Well, when it comes to action, if you want to get 20 people at your event, 20 conversations is not going to get 20 people there. For some of you, it will take 40 conversations. For some of you, it will take 60. For some of you, it will take 80. Not all action results in insta results. If you want 20 people, it's probably going to take you 60 or 80 conversations. Oftentimes, we underestimate how much action it will take, just like we often underestimate how long tasks take. The thing to recognize is when you do actions over and over, you get more productive at those actions. What that means is that if it used to take you 2 days to write an article, you'll get down to the place where it will take you 20 minutes to write an article without the use of artificial intelligence, which I know a lot of people are doing now. I remember the first article I wrote, it took me 2 days to write it. Plus, I had my friend who was an author review it, edit it. I put more time into it. It was more stressful. Today, I can write what I think is an awesome article in those 20 minutes, and you can do. That's only though after writing hundreds, literally without exaggerating, articles. Recognize that the longer it takes for us to get in action on these things we want to do, the more we're pushing off our bliss, the more we're pushing off our mastery, the longer it's going to take. I hope that based on these few minutes that we've been chatting so far today, you are already seeing some places where there's room for more action. Let me share some more thoughts with you, as I did with the gals at Christi's Summit recently, and hopefully we'll get you even more in action. Because, my friend, you have massive value to bring. There is a lifetime supply of people to serve. And you know what? There's enough clients for everybody. I want you to bliss in your business more. I want you to have mastery and thrive more in your business. And action is the antidote to wherever you can use more mastery, more bliss, or more revenue. Remember that, my friend. Action is the antidote. Enjoy this next piece for you. I've been doing retreats for women in business for many years now. This was probably our 16th retreat over the last many, many years. I also teach women how to do retreats. And one day I'm teaching this one-day seminar on how to do retreats. And it's the break. And I'm in the bathroom with one of my clients, you know, the ladies' room where we have lots of important conversations. And she says to me, Caterina, I love this idea of doing a retreat. I'm going to do a retreat in 6 months. And I said to her, no, my friend, you're going to do a retreat in 6 weeks. Now, she is, like many of you, a high achieving woman, and she took my challenge. And in 6 weeks, she did her first all-day yoga retreat. Here's what I want you to get. By the time 6 months rolled around, she had done 6 retreats. Not only had she done 6 retreats, but she had moved 6 times more towards mastery on doing retreats. And she massively monetized 6 times more than if she had waited 6 months. And I want you to get that, my friends, because when you are getting ready to get ready to begin to think about getting going, you are pushing off your mastery and you are pushing off your revenue. And the other thing you're often pushing off is your bliss of being yourself, doing your thing. And I want you to look at this idea of getting ready. I talked to a gal earlier today. I've known her for probably 25 years. She's an image professional. We were talking about her doing a workshop. And again, she's like, well, I got to get the whole thing ready. No, my friend, you don't got to get the whole thing ready. Pick a date, pick a time, pick a price. Free is fine for your first one and go. Because as women, we often do not give ourselves enough credit. Most of you can do whatever you want with one eye closed and one hand tied behind your back. The thing is, though, that you have this limiting belief alert, that you got to get ready to get ready. And you got to research and you got to do a market evaluation and you got to see what all the other people are doing before you get your party started. And I want to say to you a few things. Let's tell the truth. Part of what's getting in the way is this idea of perfection. And I like to say, not only is perfection not required, it's also not encouraged. How many of you like to hang out with perfect people? I don't like to hang out. That's boring, perfect people. I want to hang out with women that are in action, that they're trying things, that they're super tip alert, willing to be uncomfortable. And right now, I want you to ask yourself, are you willing to be uncomfortable? Because you know what happens when we're willing to be uncomfortable? It's exhilarating. In fact, I would suggest that when you're being willing to be uncomfortable and you're in action being uncomfortable, that you're actually raising your vibration. And that you are telling the universe, yo, universe, I'm willing to do what it takes to create what I want for myself in my life. You know, I love doing what I'm doing right now. This is my bliss, totally my bliss. Getting to share my thoughts with amazing gals. And I remember many, many years ago, I was thinking about this before I started. I was in a speech contest for business women. It was called the Young Careerist Contest. And I came in second place. I lost. There was only 4 gals in the whole thing. And I didn't get to go, you know, when you won, then you got to go to the state finals and you got to go to the convention and compete and, you know, all expense paid trip and everything. I didn't get any of that. But then, you know what happened? They said to me when I went to listen at the state that the gal that came in ahead of me didn't show up. So they asked me to give my talk as an exhibition. Now, I hadn't looked at it in 6 weeks or whatever it was. And a lady who I respected, she was someone I looked up to. She said to me, oh, Caterina, don't worry about it. You don't have to do it. And I took that as a challenge. And I got up and I gave my talk. But here's the point. And of course, it wasn't that great. Didn't matter. They asked me then to go to the national competition because there was nobody else to go from the state. And I share that with you because that was the miracle. That was the universe having my back that sent my life in a whole nother trajectory because I was willing to be uncomfortable. And I didn't care if I got it right or perfect. And frankly, the only person I cared about what they thought was that lady that I really liked, that I wanted to impress her. That was it. So my friends, I want to ask you, where in your life Is there room for more being willing to be uncomfortable so that you can simply celebrate the action that you take without being attached to the results? Celebrate doing your first retreat or your first workshop or your first sales conversation. Some of you have amazing people that you could be of service to, but you have this limiting belief about being pushy. So you don't invite anybody to be your client. And my friends, if you're not willing to ask, the answer is already no, right? Of course you know that. So I want to invite you, take a deep breath with me, my friends. I want to invite you to ask yourself, what's some action that might be a little uncomfortable, maybe a lot uncomfortable, but if you did it, you know it would support you from getting from where you are to where you want to be. And what is that action? And you know what will support you in getting that action and taking that action is to share it with some supportive gals like the ones that you have here, because action together is way more fun and it adds more momentum and it adds more energy behind it. And you know what? Doesn't matter how big or small we are, a little encouragement goes a long way. And when our girlfriends or any friends, they say, oh my gosh, absolutely, I could see you doing that, or you can do it. It means so much. So in my super brief talk that I'm sharing with you, let me remind you here of what we've discussed, okay? Look at your attachment to perfection and recognize that perfection is not encouraged. It's not alluring. Nobody wants it. Why would you want it? The other thing is to recognize that getting ready is a myth. It is in the doing that you get ready. Do you know, I wore this blue hair today, but you know what? The first time I ordered blue colored hair, it came like in this big thing, like all these clips, and it was a mess. I couldn't do it. Then I realized you can get ones that are really little and just a little clip. They're super easy to put in. But you know what? I got curly hair, so the straight hair didn't work for me. So then I realized, oh, you can get curly hair. Bing, bing, bing. So on my third attempt at wefts, which is what these are called, I got it right. Please, my friends, be willing to take yourself on the journey to get where you want to go, because action is the antidote for between where you are and where you want to be. My friends, I'm blessing to be with you. Bing, bing, bing. I want to let everybody know about my free resources for you, including my infographics, which there is a special one for perfection is not required or encouraged that you can put on your wall. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. Look forward to having you again with me for our next episode of the Expand Your Fempire podcast. Please join me at an upcoming free workshop. We do them every month on speaking, on sales, on hosting retreats, on expanding your fempire. And those dates are available at CaterinaRando.com. Go be your amazing self. Bing, bing, bing.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Expand Your Fempire with Caterina Rando.